would paint and draw on it. And he started out doing this kind of work, which we commonly call now graffiti. And they became famous all over New York City for the imagery that they put up in this very immediate, very quick and fast way. It was illegal at the time, and some of these artists were actually arrested, including Keith Haring, for doing this kind of very bold and daring artwork. But ironically, they then became well known for this kind of action and activity. They formed small collective artist cooperatives. They showed their work in very unusual places that they called pop-up art galleries. And through these kinds of venues where many, many artists would just stick their artwork on the walls, they started becoming famous in the larger New York art scene. And many of them started being discovered by more influential gallerists and the bigger galleries and art museums. So we're going to start today by looking at a slideshow that I created of his work. We're going to talk about his work, and then we're going to do some of our own artwork to celebrate what he did. I think he was a very courageous artist, a groundbreaking artist. Many people didn't even think he was a fine artist, and we're going to discuss that while we look at the slideshow of his work. He had a belief and a philosophy that art should be for everyone. He thought that art should be spread beyond the big galleries, beyond the walls of large museums, and places that he felt were difficult for the common person to go to. He wanted art to be accessible to the average person, or the poor person, or the disabled person. And he felt that museums and upscale galleries were prohibiting and inhibiting regular people from seeing art. So one of the first things that he did once he started making money with his work was to create what he called, his pop shop. And his pop shop was a small space in Soho, which was the center of independent, shall I say, rebellious artists to show their work at that time. And in the pop shop, he would sell his art, but not in fancy golden picture frames like you would see art in major museums and galleries, but on t-shirts and on coffee mugs and on things like baseball cups to, again, as I mentioned before, make it accessible to everyone. And he sold it cheaply. So he would sell the t-shirt for whatever the going rate for a t-shirt was on the street in those days. And the fancy pants gallery owners and the high-priced artists were shocked and offended by this approach to art and were horrified by Keith Haring making art in this way and reproducing art in multiples so that everyone could afford to buy it. They felt that this could not be fine art. This could not be serious art because it was so easy to get and easy to acquire. And it was easy for the average person to understand. It didn't have the mystery and the enigma and the serious nature that the art we usually see in major museums has. But who has the last laugh on that now? Keith Haring's work is worth millions of dollars. And where can you find it but in major museums and galleries all over the world, as well as mass-produced online and anyone can buy it. It's less affordable than it used to be, but if you Google Pop Shop, you can still go to his online shop and buy anything. You can get a phone cover. You can get an iPad cover. You can get a baseball cap. You can get a coffee mug. You can get a t-shirt with Keith Haring art on it. So the whole idea of branding and mass producing art, although it started with Andy Warhol and Andy Warhol's belief that art should be commercialized and mass produced, Keith Haring brought it to a whole new level. And I personally respect him for bringing art to everyone, because I too believe that art should be for everyone. And it should not be hidden away in these large, imposing edifices that some people find intimidating and difficult to get into. So he did these very spontaneous, quick drawings. He didn't draw first in pencil and then outline and then fill in. He would take these jumbo spray cans of paint and he would quickly do these drawings wherever he could. He didn't have the time for perfection because guess what? He was being chased by the police. He was doing artwork that at that time was illegal. So he perfected these very simple, very bold shapes that express what he was feeling. Later on, unfortunately, at a very young age, he contracted AIDS. He lived during the time in New York City in the 70s where AIDS was rampant. There was no cure for AIDS, and homosexuals in New York City were becoming infected with AIDS at an alarmingly rapid rate. Nobody knew what it was. In the beginning, no one knew how it was transmitted. The whole idea of safe sex was not something that people talked about or understood. And so many people were becoming ill with AIDS. And because there was no cure at that time, many people were unfortunately dying. That gave birth to the AIDS activist movement because gay people wanted to understand what was happening to people amongst their group. And Keith Haring became very politically active in the AIDS awareness group. Why were his friends dying? Why were so many creative people in the visual and musical and theatrical world dying from AIDS? And his imagery started to reflect what was going on in the gay community and the AIDS activist world. And we're going to talk about that as we look at his artwork, as we go through this slideshow. He died at a very young age in 1990, February 16th, from AIDS. He never let his illness stop him in his advocacy for gay rights and for fighting against the spread of AIDS. All of the items that he sold then and that are on sale now in the Pop Shop, the proceeds go to the Keith Haring Foundation, and the money, the proceeds of that, go to fight AIDS, particularly in Harlem. The money goes to the Harlem Foundation for Education to Fight AIDS. So he is one of the most significant contributors in the fight against AIDS, as well as in the pop art movement, as one of the leaders in the pop art movement in the world of pop art. Much of his imagery is about love. He was always trying to promote the love between people and the fact that we may look different or behave differently or speak differently. We are all the same on the inside. And so frequently you'll see people touching, hugging, kissing, playing with each other. And even in the depths of despair and hopelessness with what was going on amongst the people around him, his pictures portrayed this joyousness. He used very bright colors in his colored pictures. And I don't know, I think that that also is an amazing testament to what he was trying to accomplish. He never really mixed. He would use paint straight from the can or the tube. This was also part of the kind of work he was doing. He had to work quickly. He didn't have time for the subtleties of color mixing. Remember, cops were chasing him most of the time in his early career. And he continued with that throughout his life. He did study painting at the School of Visual Arts in New York City. He came to New York from Pittsburgh, where he was born. And he studied, this is very interesting to me, while in New York, he studied the philosophy of semiotics. Semiotics is all about symbolism and what different symbols and letters and numbers and shapes mean in culture. He was very drawn to traditional civilizations, ancient Egyptian civilization, the ancient traditions of Inca and Maya and other pre-Columbian civilizations in South America, and also African cultures as well. So many of his simple, very simplified imagery come from images that he looked at from other traditions around the world. He often used barking dogs, flying saucers, large hearts. All of this became part of his own personal iconography or iconography. He frequently had cutouts in the human figure through which other figures were making connections. He loved putting these little black lines around the figures to show movement and action and activity. And he always outlined in black. This was a classic signature part of his work, that heavy black outline. When you see it, you know you're looking at Keith Haring. He mass-produced buttons and magnets to hand out while he was working on his subway pictures. He was constantly spreading his imagery everywhere. Art was for everyone. He wanted to share what was in his heart and mind with even people passing by when he was doing graffiti. It was his to share. He often worked quickly. He tried to create as much work as possible, sometimes completing as many as 40 paintings in a day. Talk about prolific. In 1983, he had one of his first solo exhibitions at the Fun Gallery in the East Village. Then he traveled to Sao Paulo in Brazil for the Biennale. He's had so many shows, it would take all day to really talk about his exhibition history. He often did these very complicated, intricate compositions as well. He did enormous works, and I'm going to show you some of those too, I think, in this slideshow. Imagery that covered entire walls. So he was also a muralist, and he worked outdoors as well as indoors, making pictures that could be, miles long. You can see there's an upside down astronaut in this. Again, Humor was part of his modus operandi, I guess you could say. There was always something funny in his imagery, poignant but funny at the same time. I like how there's larger shapes, and then inside the larger shapes or the smaller shapes, you can see there's a big outline of a black figure, which is transparent. And inside the black figure, there are interwoven smaller shapes. The more you look at it, the more you see. So in the 80s, he had a swift rise to celebrity status, and he used that to spread the word about AIDS awareness and to overcome the stereotypes about AIDS that were rampant at that time. I don't know if you remember, people were afraid to touch people with AIDS. Remember, Princess Diana did that famous video where she picked up children with AIDS, and she too was very instrumental in helping all of those horrible stereotypes about AIDS. Good morning. He was commissioned by the UN to create a cover of the United Nations stamp and a limited edition of lithographs to commemorate 1985 as International Youth Year. He designed MTV sets, painted murals for various art institutions and nightclubs, such as the Palladium in Manhattan. In 1985, Haring painted the walls of the Grande Halle de la Villette for the Biennale de Paris. In July 1985, he made a painting for the Live Aid concert at the JFK Stadium in Philadelphia. I mean, on and on and on. He worked constantly, even during the last few years of his life. He created in 1986 a 90-foot banner called City Kids Speak on Liberty at the Statue of Liberty. Later that month, he created his Crack is Whack mural in East Harlem, which is visible from New York's FDR Drive. It was originally considered as vandalism by the New York Police Department, and Haring was arrested. But local media picked up on it, and Haring was released on a lesser charge. In October 23rd, 1986, Haring created a mural on the Berlin Wall for the Checkpoint Charlie Museum. The mural was 980 feet long and depicted red and black interlocking human figures against a yellow background, the colors of the German flag, and symbolized the hope of unity between East and West Germany. He collaborated with so many famous people, including Grace Jones, Andy Warhol, Jean-Michel Basquiat, David Bowie, on and on and on. And the pop shop opened, I believe, in 1986. More of his dancing people. Looks like break dancing. Yep. In his final years from 87 to 1990, he was featured in more than 100 solo and group exhibitions and produced more than 50 public artworks in dozens of charities, hospitals, daycare centers, and orphanages. He was openly gay and used his works to advocate for safe sex. So this is one of his more famous creations. Sometimes the images were overtly political. This one, I think in particular, Ignorance Equals Fear, again, is trying to break the horrible stereotypes about AIDS that were alive and well at that time. Good morning, Tamara. Very simple, powerful shapes, but very effective. And here, I think, is a great example of where words can play an important part in a visual image. Without those words at the top, I'm not sure this picture would carry quite as much impact. So he kept working for these final years of his life after he'd been diagnosed with AIDS. So much to talk about. He was friends with, again, Basquiat. Kenny Scharf was another great graffiti artist who gained prominence and fame. I think Kenny Scharf is still alive and showing in galleries all over New York City. Another great artist, Kenny Scharf. He founded the Keith Haring Foundation. He established it in 1989, just a few months before he died. And Madonna declared, as a celebration of his life, that the final American date of her 1990 Blonde Ambition tour would be an homage to Haring's memory. And she raised more than $300,000 from ticket sales, and all of that was donated to the Foundation for AIDS Research. Here's one of his barking dogs. So a lot of these icons came from his study, again, of traditional cultures. I'm not sure where the barking dog exactly comes from, but he did borrow from other cultural images in his work. If you ever get a chance to see a retrospective of his work, you will immediately see this direct connection between his work and things like ancient Egyptian wall art. It's pretty astounding. It really blew me away. I was lucky enough to see a major retrospective of his work in Cincinnati several years ago. So this is a wall installation of several of his smaller pieces. I saved it for the final picture just so you could get a sense of the variety of his imagery. There's so many pictures that actually I could not share with you today because they're not appropriate to share at this time, but they're a little bit too politically or sexually explicit. I invite you to look further at his work because it just really is amazing, amazing work. I'm going to stop the share on this slideshow. Please, everyone and anyone, please, if you have thoughts that you want to share. And while you're doing that, I have a very quick slideshow of his black and white imagery. I want to show it to you very fast because I think it's going to help you with the projects that I have for today. Any thoughts?
Liz,
Yes.
I saw him several times in the subway before he became famous, drawing on the black boards when I was going back and forth to Hunter. Yeah, like 2 or 3 times. It was unbelievable.
He's adorable, right? He was
Yeah,
completely adorable person.
it was fantastic, and he was doing it very fast because, of course, he was drawing on the black walls, that they usually put ads on. So yeah, it was great.
And the retrospective that I got to see at the Cincinnati Museum of Art, they actually had cut out some of those walls from the subways in New York City, and they saved them and hung them on the walls in the museum. So Like a Banksy. Yeah, like a Banksy. Yeah. Oh, you're so lucky that you got to observe. And of course, you had no idea at that time, right? That he was going to become famous.
No, I just thought it was incredible and I loved his work. I mean, just seeing it was just wonderful. They recently had a cutout on a bathroom that he had painted. They took it all off the walls and,
So
put
Susan,
it somewhere.
Susan.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, Susan.
Hmm.
You're so lucky. Um, yeah, there's also a really wonderful video of him where he is literally painting himself into the corner. It's so cool. Look for it on Google. Keith Haring painting himself into a corner. It's one of my favorites. All right, so I want to share the screen quickly. And Margot, please remind me before we talk about what we're going to make today. Margot saw a show in New York that I want her to quickly share after we look at this video, and then I'm going to talk about what we're going to do in class today. So I'm just going through this. I'm going to whip through this fast, but I want you to see the kinds of shapes and lines that he uses in his work. And I think by showing you the black and white slideshow, you're going to get a much better idea of what kinds of things you can do today. Here we go. I'm not even going to talk about these. Look at the way it's divided up the space, though. Look at the negative shapes, the shapes in between. Very simple, very strong. This is one of my favorites. I mean, what does it mean? I don't know, but I love it. Look at how he lets the shapes touch the edges of the square in which they sit and how that creates negative shapes. You see that triangle in the upper right-hand corner? It's awesome. And whatever that shape is in between them, the shapes in between, whatever that neck thing is, and where they're holding hands and the ground, those shapes I think are just wonderful. All right, I promised I wouldn't talk, but here I am talking. This is his most famous image. I actually have it on a t-shirt. I should have worn it today. Okay, I think this is the last picture. I think you get the idea. Oh, no. That's the last picture. All right, so Margot, will you please share with us about the show you just saw in New York? And then I'm going to talk to everyone about what we're going to create today.
Okay. It was a Alexander Calder and Paul Klee exhibit at the Donna Museum, 65th and Madison. And evidently they were friends or were aware of one another and, started collecting each other's art. But the exhibit was just phenomenal. And Calder's mobiles cast shadows and created, a vision in and of itself that you should definitely check out. It's free.
And I think I misspelled the name of the museum. Dibona, is that correct?
No, D-I, second word, Donna. Donna, like Donna Bella.
Calder Clay exhibit at the Donna Museum.
Right. It's 744 Madison,
Okay.
which is at 65th Street.
65th?
Yeah, in Madison. You have to make a reservation, but it's free.
Thank you, Margot. Awesome. All right, so here's what we're going to do today. Those of you at home, I think that this project is Screaming Painting. I would recommend you go online to look for Haring imagery. And I would love it if you could create your own icons, something that speaks to an issue that's important to you, and something that you want to make the world aware of, whether it's the climate crisis, whether it's the housing crisis, whether you're feeling for people who are food insecure, create some kind of image that you think could convey your thoughts or feelings on the subject. And the technique, the process, the method. I would not draw first in pencil. I would immediately start with a black marker, draw very simple, fast shapes. I would start with a frame, and within that, do your black outlines and then paint. Questions? Now, those of you who are here, you have several options. I have brought in t-shirts, extra large, large, and medium. There are 5 of each. I may or may not do a quick demo on how to do them. Those of you who do t-shirts, I would recommend you do a pencil sketch on the surface of the fabric of the t-shirt first, outline the pencil sketch with black Sharpie, and then I have fabric markers. The fabric markers are all on the window ledge. You can use the black Sharpies on the fabric and the fabric markers. Regular Crayola markers will not work. They will stain the t-shirt, but when you wash it, guess what? They will wash out. So only use the markers, the fabric markers that are on the window ledge for your t-shirts. The other thing I recommend, there is white, plain white photocopy paper. You need to put that in between the front and back of your t-shirt before you use either the Sharpie or the fabric marker. Otherwise, it's going to bleed from the front onto the back of your t-shirt. I'll show you.
Sorry, I'm missing the t-shirt thing.
I'm sorry you are too. If I have any leftovers, I will bring them to the multi-service center on Tuesday.
Thank you.
You can also paint today. I have brought in acrylic paints. I brought in paper. You can use the Sharpies, pencil, and paint on paper. You can create your own Haring style. Folks at home, you can see this too. You can do outline first and then paint with acrylic. This is what I think, folks at home, your option can be. I did not start with the black frame first, but I would recommend that everybody does that. Everybody should do that first. I also have a limited number of photocopy handouts for those of you who are here of different Haring images. I think they're mostly from the slideshow that I showed you. You can trace these if you like. Since there's a limited number, I'm going to ask that you not paint or color on these though, because I don't think I have enough for everyone. You could trace, you might be able to trace these through the fabric if you're doing a t-shirt. However, they are copyrighted. I won't tell. How would you trace them on paper? You could trace them on photocopy paper, but not this kind of paper. I don't think you'll be able to see through it. The photocopy paper is thin though. If you put photocopy paper on top of this, you'll be able to see through it. It's on the back. It's at the back. I have photocopy paper. I have the regular drawing paper. There are regular markers if you don't want to paint, and there are regular colored pencils. There are crayons, there are soft pastels, and there are Conte crayons that you can use. So you can either paint if you're here, or you could do the t-shirt, or you could draw in the style of Keith Haring. I will put a Keith Haring image up on the screen. Any questions about what we're creating today? If you don't like any of my projects, go ahead and make your own. I'm always open to new ideas. I know we have not been doing our traditional still life or landscape or figurative drawing these last few months. We will get back to it eventually, but we haven't been doing it lately. Have fun. And for those of you who are here, I will do a quick demo on how to do a t-shirt. It's really easy. But let me put up a herring image first, so folks at home can see. There are some great Keith Haring self-portraits too, if anybody wants to see what he looks like. He did it in a very fun, amusing way. Do we want a black and white herring up, or do we want a colored? Here, we're going to do this. He often did angels. I like this one. I hope you all do too. Open it. Everyone at home, can you see this herring picture? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. But you, folks at home, you have the luxury of looking on screen. There are a million. You Google Keith Haring, you'll find 9 billion images. Those of you here with smartphones, you can find them too. All right, I'm going to show folks here how to do t-shirts. Anybody who wants to read more about Keith Haring, you can come up here and read his bio. Just watch the wires here, please. Yeah, it's zero. I'm putting them here. Please share these. No, this is the wrong kind of marker to use on the t-shirt. Here, the right one, over here. I'm glad you asked. You only get one t-shirt, Helen. That's something you gotta keep. There's no messing up ever. I'm gonna do it. There are a lot of fabric markers, so share. Some of them are older than others, maybe tried out. If they're tried out, it's a strong will. You want to? What? Can't hear you, Laura. All right, those of you who want to see how to make a t-shirt, I'm not gonna do Let's see. Who's the bloody? The rainbow for your end. Beautiful character ones. Yeah. Depending on the size shirt you have, this is an extra large. No matter what you do, you're going to want to have a barrier between the front and back of your shirt. Okay? Because the fabric marker will bleed between the front and back. This is an extra large. I want to have the and I think they're going to be able to see through part of the trace. Yeah, so if you're tracing, probably don't have to draw first in pencil. You could probably just go to town with marker. All right. Drawing on pencil on fabric is a bit of a challenge. You can do it, but it's difficult. You can do it though. The trick is to keep the fabric flat as you can. So if you're tracing, I would just work with the sharp. Now here's the ink will spread. Eileen, if you ask me questions about how to do this, I'm not going to answer. Okay. Ink will spread. So you do not want to press hard. Want to do it gently. So spread. A lot of pressure. Fabric is fuzzy. Your lines are not going to be hard and sharp. So the attention.
What? What? What?
Fabric marker and fill. And I would wait a few seconds, try and wait until the sharpening marker is a little bit dry, because it will spread. If you touch it with the colored marker, the black will spread into the color. The Sharpie will fade a little bit, but these won't.
They have like black color.
These are fabric.
There was no black.
There's probably black. But I don't think the point is. I prefer the Sharpie with the black. It's up to you. You are the artist. Any question?
I need to put on that in my spray.
The color will also spread. You have to use it gently. Let's see if I can use it.
Yeah, I know.
Check on a piece of paper. Some of the markers are dirty. So it's a little bit less. If like they don't know, you don't like the Sharpie, use the rubber. will spread, and if you touch the black, see how it gets uncolored. You have to be clean. All right. It's fun. Have fun. Thank you. You're welcome. Let me see if I can get this open. Oh, there we go. There we go. We do too. Yeah. Just be careful. But you have another piece of paper between, so it doesn't be. I would prefer you not using something.
It took a test.
Yeah,
I just
thank you. I knew it was just a test. I just wanted to remind you. Not straight, but we want it straight. Straight. Pretty good finish line. You want Susan. Do you want Susan? Okay, one or the other. Just this. This is my favorite. Of all of the there.
Yeah, this
Yes.
is gonna be great.
Now, Keith Haring, when he printed his t-shirts, used a process called silk screen, which was a very different way to create an image on fabric. And it creates a sharper, harder edged image than when you draw on fabric. It's completely different than what you're going to create today. So please keep that in mind. We could do silk screen printing here, but I don't think we can afford the materials. Maybe. I think we would have to do a whole month of silk screen printing, right, Laura? In order to justify, or maybe a few months of silk screen printing to justify buying the materials needed to do silk screening. Yes, oh, wouldn't it be great if we could sell our t-shirts at the library?
What's the date?
Laura would be the one to go to that. I did not know. But from now on, keep in mind that any artwork we make, we want to display. It's all under consideration to display for the art show coming in September. Folks at home, I hope you heard me. Oh, you're making your own personal icon, Connie. I love it. Wait, I'm coming to you in 1 second. Folks at home, remember any artwork you create is for potential display in the September art show. Woohoo!
Liz, is that only art that's created in class, or can we work in class?
I would like it to be for work we do in class.
Only.
Yes. Yep. I would really like it to advertise this way. Because we do fantastic work here.
And you could say, you too can become like this.
Or
There's so many doubters.
we too, if it's just that fun. Anytime. So again, let go of perfection on this project. You're not gonna get the most perfect clean edge when you draw on fabric. It's a whole different thing. Fabric is fuzzy and things will spread. Oh, okay, got it. But I was thinking you might want to trace this, but I don't think it's gonna fit. Okay, never mind. What you can do is. So leave that to dry. Start with another one. It's fine. Whenever I'm in stalemate on a work of art, I will put it to one side and start a new piece and then come back to the old one. I have found that if I struggle and struggle and struggle, no, wrong marker, Susie. No. We must use the fabric markers. Yeah, what's the create? These are washing. See where it said washable? Yeah, this is the washing machine. And we'll have no picture of that. Only the fabric. But if you try, those are good. But these are not good. So here, these are good. These are all good. Did you want ones with a broad tip? Like this size, and you couldn't find the right color? You've got to share with these city people. They have all the colors. If you want ones with a broad tip, they have all the colors. You can share with them. Okay. What color do you want? Come and let's look. What color do you need? We got the whole rainbow here. And we got a marker on this floor. What color? Sometimes you have to remove. I remember where they came.
So I don't need this one.
Okay, where did it come from? No,
No,
put it back where you found it, please, because they're very difficult to carry home if you don't put it back in. What So sometimes when I'm stuck on something, on an art piece, I'll leave it. I'll walk away from it. I'll leave it there for a while and come back to it later. Trying to think about something when it's causing you problems, and you probably in your daily life situation, obsessing over something doesn't help to solve the problem. Let it go for a while and then come back to it later. Alice, do you want to show me what you brought in today, or do you want to wait? Because we're in the middle of creating. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe so. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I do, it's much less. See, I was doing so long. Did you go to my Yes. In between, I'm running back. Oh, you need to make. But. They are scrappy.
No, no, it's okay. I don't have time.
The problem here is you're on the edge.
That's Crayola, now this not.
No, no, that's perfect. Please.
No, 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 there's no black.
Oh, this move on. Yeah.
You have one.
Yeah, it's not in.
Yeah,
This
it's
okay.
a little black. Yeah. It was a black. It was a little blue. We have Sharpies.
Oh, yeah, these are looking great. I'm thrilled. That's thrilled. So, and once it starts drying, if this, I love this, but if it bothers you, once it's dry, you may be able to go over that, get rid of the fuzziness. You were gonna tell me, why is this your personal item? Please share. My desert experience. You like the desert or you don't? Like the desert? Okay. Does it look like I like it? It does. The colors are wonderful. I would go even brighter in the background. I was gonna go for the yellow, but I wanted to sort of get to. Folks at home, we good? We're inspired? Yay. I mean, Haring is Who doesn't like Keith Haring? I don't know. Wow. Great news from the BBC. Excuse me. Right.
Okay. And I see we chosen to do the dotted line, which is also interesting. So I like the dotted line. Shirley did it too,
She
yeah.
has to do.
Shirley decided to use the dots. That worked. Oh, this cute, really? I like that one. Okay, these kind of like the word blossoms. I don't know. It could be a brand too. Or they might have an old doing Martha. Thing. Oh. Yeah, this one they get dried out. Very nice. Oh, I'll feel it. So Laura, look at this one. Look at that. Oh. Yeah. Wow. Wow. project must be really satisfying. We've been so far. Yeah, I should not have mentioned that. Oops.
Oops, big mistake. We came in wild and now we've really settled into this. So I should, while you're working, I should have mentioned this, but I'm going to mention it now. In 2014, Keith Haring was one of the inaugural honorees in the Rainbow Honor Walk in San Francisco, a walk of fame noting LGBTQ people who have made significant contributions in their fields. And then in 2019, he was one of the inaugural 50 American pioneers, trailblazers, and heroes inducted on the National LGBTQ Wall of Honor within the Stonewall National Monument in New York City's Stonewall Inn. So he was pretty awesome.
Was he black?
No,
I guess that was, since he appears to be such a loving person and a person, I thought it was interesting that he concentrated in all his work for the people that with the lines, the excitement on expression. I really think that like the day that I looked at Cal Schultz's with the Goldberg and high school, and I very on in a month's time. And I think I entered into a new experience and recognized exactly what it is. Yeah. Yeah. You know, I never like appreciated. So two, like 4 lines. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. Anxiety disorder. Those action lines are very common for God. Yes. They almost become symbolic. Well, they are. I mean, he was a philosopher of semiotics and the whole language of symbols and what symbols mean. That was very important to him. He was a deep thinker. You look at his artwork and you think it's silly and childish, but it wasn't. It is fun. It's a nice rescue from having art as we would. Our art is only for the exclusive view. Exactly. We all put these on at the end of class and take a picture. Library website. We'll be very happy. Probably be way more. Part of was the intersection of all these markets, if we would have studied them, both are uncorrelated. Other minor processes suppressing homes that housing. Everybody's watching. So this is good for me. Everything is like, in other words, this is not sent, this is it's not, I know, but I didn't realize it until I was looking at it. No, one thing is bigger than the other, and back on this one. Right, right? Yeah. It's perfect. I like it. That has to be marked in my head. Right? Right. You can touch me. Oh, well, it's very hard. Right. I can. It's a nice. It's not graceful, right? She was good. She was grace, right? She's. It's very difficult to draw. And so moves around. Stuff bleeds. It's a job. Why do these colors? It's like crystallized part. But lots. Now, when you wash these, I would recommend doing it in cold water, not hot. I've actually become an advocate of washing everything in cold water. These days, use less energy that way. So we have about 10 minutes until cleanup. Oh, we now have a successful launch of a commercial airlines into space. Boeing Starliner
has launched astronauts into space. There you go.
Okay.
Yes, the yellow balance really wants. It really is wonderful. The way to use the my favorite. I don't want to go over and see you guys wearing these. You should have a fashion show, right? Either that, or you save them for art show in September. One or the other. So it's next time we'll go tango dance. You have to wear this t-shirt. Right. But you, this is what I'm saying.
Tomorrow night. And then music on tomorrow night.
You want to music? On the waterfront. Frank Sinatra.
Sinatra.
Oh, so you're going to that?
I'm going to
With whom?
say them tonight.
He knows you have a boyfriend? For the tango. Oh,
It's Papa Conway.
that's how to find. Actually, I have a video of you. Yeah, sure. I don't know if you're gonna like it. I don't like it. You should go with it. It's hard to find people who dance the tango as well as you. Yeah, it's not bad. Plus the skills. If there's one, you have to get in line.
Oh.
Take them out.
All right.
There's a list made. One, two, yeah.
Yes. I don't think that's.
Yeah.
Very good. I don't see it all the time.
That's so cute. Is that your new family?
I don't get my face.
Yep. I did it. I wanted to make it there, but unintentionally it came with some kind of stuff. Yeah. What should I sign? Thumbnail first. Extra large.
What's that?
I get extra large or large. I normally just, I don't know.
So cute.
No, well, not my.
They're strong already.
Really good.
But no, not my thing. No, maybe not.
Just ready, but the weather's good. Probably gotta be a couple of them pounds. It's gotta be fast. Yeah, but that feels lit. Real, it's designed. We started with Keith Harring's and we came up with the original artwork. Each one of you has created unique original art. I'm so proud. Happy for each of you. Look how good Daniel's wearing his. Fabulous.
That is the beautiful.
You look fantastic, Daniel.
Wow, is that a teddy bear? Wow, is that a teddy bear? I can't see that well.
Make your guess.
Wow, is it?
You look so good.
Nice. Yeah. Wow, that's.
No, it's a character.
I don't know. What do I want?
You look so good. May I take your picture?
Oh, he did? Yeah, he did.
And I think it's less, I didn't need it. White shirt.
Okay, so this is a challenge. Take it on. It's not that too much.
That's one thing on the black. I put the black one in. Yes.
So I think the first layer goes.
Oh, this week I'm gonna get, this Saturday, this week my grandmother's gonna turn, well, that's it, 100. Yeah, I think so. I think they're gonna make, her party today. And I got some kind of, recommend thing. Friday, I got a stream with some friends. I I'll wear this on. I need a white shirt. I already took my too much black and
Especially in the summer.
yeah, I was running out of white.
This summer, that's gonna be so hot. All right, sharing. So folks who are here today, you get to share first. I'm gonna take the picture of the herring picture down. And Daniel is wearing his shirt. Do you want to come up and stand in front of the camera for everyone to see? It's kind of hard to get the full effect, right?
Actually,
There you go.
Wow.
Isn't that great?
That's great. That's great. I
love
love it.
Well done, Daniel.
Fabulous.
Excellent, Daniel. Wonderful.
Keith Haring would love it. Bravo. And here comes Lisa. Wait till you see this, everybody.
Oh, cool.
Double the fun.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Really terrific.
Wow.
Bravo, Lisa.
Beautiful, Lisa.
Woo. Who's next? Is it Charlie? Are you gonna show what you made? Ryan Tika, you want to share yours? Judy, come on up. It's like a race.
Oh,
Oh, beautiful.
Very strong. Well done. Ryan Tika, you're next. Come on. Oh, I missed you. Where were you? You can be next. Each one's so different. Look.
Oh, wow. Fabulous. Beautiful.
Nice. Love this.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
The barking.
Great.
Pro. There you go. Just
very cool.
wonderful. Alice.
Get back, get back.
It's on paper. Read band.
Nice.
Love this man.
Yes.
And the portrait of Keith Bell.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh,
Wow. Fabulous.
Shaded. See. Yes. Come show it. Oh, she's gonna put it on.
Of course, that's the best way to show it.
Too long. Laura, you're next. I know, here she comes, finally. Show your drawing first. All
Oh,
right,
oh, wow, beautiful.
pretty cool. And now, and this is.
Esty, stop.
And that's
Oh, beautiful, Esty.
Sorry, I missed this class.
Here comes Tamara. You don't have to do that. This one's really Tamara. It's so unique.
Oh, fabulous.
Very-
Beautiful, Tamara.
Very 60s. Love the flowers,
Okay.
the addition.
Eileen.
I'm always never finished, but
You got a lot done today, Miss Eileen.
this is.
Watch the thing.
This is my color scheme. I love blue and green.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Very nice.
Esty,
Terrific. A work in progress. You got a lot done today, Eileen. Judy, are you gonna share?
I'll already share.
You already shared. Duh. Connie created her own personal iconist, and
I can't
Daniel,
help it. I have no
and
choice.
Tamara, and Esty.
Oh, beautiful.
It's a theme. Love
Thank
it.
you.
Great colors, right? All right, folks at home. Susan, you're first in my queue.
Oh, of course.
Spotlight you. Hold on.
Politicians keep out. And they're women with fetuses and then some fetuses, you know, that's what I did for 30 years. I looked at fetuses, so.
Not hands.
Hands off our bodies.
Yep, yep. Politicians out. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Okay, that's my,
Very original.
thank you.
Can't more direct than that. Thank you, Susan. Great shape, great color, great message. All right,
Yeah.
here we go. Whoops, sorry, I should have given you a warning. All right,
Oh, beautiful. I love it.
great. I love this. Oh, look at the poor whale in the net. You
Yeah.
gotta see that.
With the three-eyed fish.
Yeah.
All the garbage in the water.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Mixed media. I did
Wow,
yes
all right, this is very nice too. Yes.
last week. Sorry. Okay, thanks.
Really nice.
Prolific today. Loving all of these. Thanks, Margot.
You're welcome.
Here today, Robin.
Oh, she's muted.
I'm unmuted, I think now. I was
Yeah.
just playing with the
Whoa, look at
Whoa.
this one.
and,
Very cool.
I think I should put in a background. What do you think?
Um,
Quite finished it yet, but it's just
Beautiful.
images that I'm intending.
very interesting addition to this because you have a lot of wonderful shapes and colors. So it's
Color.
Yeah, I don't think.
a great addition.
You think leaving it without a background is good?
Hold on, Daniel, I'm sorry. What did
Just to leave it without a background?
her?
Look at it, free.
Okay, yeah, it could be the face of the bear, you see? Okay. Daniel is saying he sees the face of a bear, Rob.
Okay, that's cool. It's very cool. Thanks.
No, I don't think so. That was not intentional, right, Robin?
Okay.
And to do the
Right.
beautiful colors and shapes, I think working on a background would be an interesting direction to go in.
Okay, thanks. I'll do that.
Sharing. And I hope everyone enjoyed our work with Keith Haring.
Yes.
Heather said no for today. Are you going to share, Heather? not have to share. All right, so one last sharing. Heather's beautiful mixed media.
Whoa, that's gorgeous.
That's wonderful.
Gorgeous.
Love it. Love the
Absolutely gorgeous. Beautiful. Wow.
Great text, right? She's got fabric, she's got paint,
Gorgeous. Beautiful.
just love texture.
Fantastic.
And we started to work on paper as well.
Yeah.
Very
Yes. Beautiful.
Well done.
That was fun.
All right,
Oh.
now, did I hear, Stephanie, are you still with us? Do you want to share?
Oh, she's gone. She's gone.
All right, folks, so we will continue our studies and appreciation of LGBTQ plus artists this week. I will send you all an email in advance to let you know what we're going to be working on. So art on, enjoy the sun while you can, soak up some healing rays, and I'll see you all soon.